Hey, what's up, guys? Here on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we got is hot. I'm your host, Zach Jackson. Let's get right to the show I have for you guys today. It is Recap Monday, Season 5, Episode number 30 here on the Fire Sports Pod. We are powered by StreamYard, where StreamYard makes the dream yard go. Let's get right to it. It is currently 5:58 p.m. Eastern Time. Coming to you live from New Jersey. Let's get right into it. So we got a packed show for you guys today. We're going to go into about a 20 to 22 minute segment. Couple segments we got for you, and we'll end the show about 22 minutes. So let's get right into it. I got you guys with some updates, with some sports stories, and some sports news over the weekend on here on Recap Monday. Just to recap what happened over the weekend, we have UFC 309, where we had John Jones knock out Stipe Miocic in the third round with a spinning back kick right to the ribs. It wasn't a boring fight, but it was just a very one-sided affair. Stipe looked really well in the first round, but once John Jones took him down and just hammered at him, there was really no chance for Stipe to come back. And then Stipe called it a career, so he retired after losing to John Jones. Now it looks like Tom Aspinall and John Jones will be fighting relatively shortly. They just got to find a good number for John Jones. He says he wants to fight Pereira, but I think the right fight is Tom Aspinall. I think if he fights Pereira, I think John Jones kills Pereira, even though Pereira is a great striker. He just doesn't have the ground game that John Jones has, and I think John Jones will dominate him in 2 seconds. Now we go into Michael Chandler versus Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira dominated the fight through 4 rounds, and then the 5th round came, and I don't know what the hell. Michael Chandler turned into a beast. He did a Superman punch basically in the air. He was grounding and pounding Pereira, Oliveira. And then once Charles got a lock with him, the whole thing was that if you guys saw in the last couple seconds of the 5th round, he threw Charles Oliveira on his back because he was on top of Chandler's back. Chandler threw him back down. The only reason why I didn't really do nothing, there was no gap. There was no air between the two bodies. He was literally like a boa constrictor and was on top of him, so it didn't really hurt him at all. If there was a little bit of a gap, and he would have knocked him out with those things. So Michael Chandler almost had an enormous comeback in the 5th round, but couldn't get the job done, as Charles Oliveira gets the win. Bo Nickal got a win in one of the most boring fights I've seen in a long time. And then Silva lost. All of her fights ended in the 1st round, and once she got past the 1st round, she was gassed. Araujo absolutely destroyed her. The other lady striking was just crazy. The only reason why that lady had the belt was because of the fact that she had all the fights end in the 1st round, and she was just a killer in the 1st round. Her stamina was just terrible after that 1st round. So the fights were great. One of the top fights actually got canceled because of an injury, so they had to pull that fight from the card. But the 4 fights that were there were really good fights, except for the Bo Nickal one. The Bo Nickal was kind of a disappointment. I kind of hoped that Bo Nickal was a little bit of a better fight, but it really wasn't. So at the same time, guys, that was UFC 309. And then we had the Mike Tyson and Jake Paul on Friday night, where Jake Paul absolutely, by unanimous decision, beat Mike Tyson up. It really wasn't a contest. It really wasn't a fight. It was kind of very boring and very nonchalant. Mike Tyson really looked his age, and he said he wants to fight Logan Paul now. No matter what, any of the Paul, I think both of them win. Doesn't matter. Mike Tyson is just too old. It was great in my lifetime to see Mike Tyson back in the ring. I've never seen him. I'm only 20, so it was great to see him actually in the ring. Just wish it would have been a little bit more fiery. The way he trained and what we saw were 2 completely different things. I don't know what was the difference. There had to be something. A lot of people said as soon as he tripped coming out of the arena to go to the ring, that's when you know he had a knee brace on. It was just a lot of signs that showed that he wasn't really ready for the fight. He had the talking was there, the trash talk was there, the charisma of Mike Tyson was there. Just the action was not. The power really wasn't behind a lot of the punches. His feet were just very out of the ordinary, couldn't really stand up straight. So it was pretty sad to see Mike Tyson look like that, but it was also great to see a legend back in the ring at 58 years old. Just shows you and he went all 8 rounds. Obviously, Jake Paul could have knocked him out. There were times that I saw that he kind of laid back on Mike Tyson, just didn't want to really hurt him, which, to be honest, that's a good man. That's a good person. But again, I don't think Mike Tyson deserves to get in the ring again. I know he did it for the money, but at the same time, it's like, dude, now you could lose your life because you're just too old for the sport. You can lose your life any age, but now at this age, it's more significant. So those were the big time events that were over the weekend. That I had you guys. I picked Jake Paul to win that fight. No, my bad. I wanted Mike Tyson to win, but everything in my head was saying that Jake Paul was going to win that fight. He did in a unanimous decision. And then with the John Jones Stipe, I picked John Jones to win it by a knockout in the 5th round. He won in the 3rd round. I picked Chandler to beat Charles Oliveira. I thought he could get there after the first loss where he kind of underestimated Charles Oliveira, but that wasn't the case. I picked Bo Nickel to get the win. I picked Silva to get the win. She did not. So I went 2-2 in my picks on Saturday night in UFC 309. And then when it came to the NFL, guys, before we move on to some sports stories and some news around all over the place, I would have to get to the Cincinnati Bengals. There's a lot of question marks. Is Joe Burrow, is Jamar Chase rotting away in Cincinnati? I vote yes. I mean, bro, you have a top 5 talent in a wide receiver. You have a top 3 talent in a quarterback in Cincinnati, and you can't get the job done. They're just not a good ran team. They have no running game. Outside of T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, there's nobody else to throw the ball to. You really don't have a tight end. Your defense sucks. Your only guy is the frontline guys. That's pretty much it. You barely have any pass rush, only with one guy. You don't have a secondary. Your safeties are terrible. McPherson has missed 2 field goals late in the Chargers game last night in Sunday Night Football to get you the lead. He missed them, and you paid him this big bucks because his first year he didn't miss a damn kick. And you guys went to the Super Bowl. So I don't know, guys. Ever since the run to the Super Bowl, they've just been regressing every year. They just haven't been the same. And I think the Chargers are good, man. They're playing really well. Harbaugh's having them play really good. Herbert's not having to throw the ball 100,000 times. And on top of that, their running game is stout. And their defense is really good. Derwin James is a beast. They were up 27-6 in this game. And if it wasn't for Joe Burrow and Joe Burrow just turning into God mode, I mean, it's ridiculous. Joe Burrow has the last 2 games has probably almost 800 yards and has like 9 touchdowns. It's remarkable, and he's losing, and he's 0-2. So I really think that an MVP, he's having an MVP year. He's over 3,000 yards. He has 27 touchdowns on the year. He might finish with the most passing yards and the most touchdowns in the league, and his team sucks, and they're not going to make the playoffs. So now they have 7 losses. They can't lose another game. They're 4-7. They lose one more game, the season might be already over. Because you got Baltimore in your division. You got Pittsburgh in your division. We all know what Cleveland is. And then you got them. So there's really no margin for error. You can't lose a damn game. You got Pittsburgh at 8-2. You have Baltimore at, I believe, 7-3. Yeah. So you have Pittsburgh at 8-2. You have Baltimore at 7-3. I mean, or 7-4. I gotta double check on the records here. But damn, like you have 7-4, and the Steelers are 8-2. I don't know, guys. It's really ridiculous on how well Jamar Chase and Joe Burrow have been playing, and they just can't get the job done. So I really think that if Cincinnati doesn't turn this year around, I think Joe Burrow lives out his contract. He might be either they got to get some more assets. They got to help him out. T. Higgins can't stay healthy, and he's a monster. But then he gets injured. He can't stay healthy. They need a running game. Zach Moss is hurt. He's out for the year, so he's hurt. That's why their running game sucks. They lost Joe Mixon for no reason. I don't know why they let go Joe Mixon. Their defense needs a lot of work. Their secondary is terrible. They can't guard anybody. I can even put myself out there. They might not even be able to guard me. That's how bad they're playing on their defensive side of the ball. So Cincinnati's in real trouble. I think the crazy part, we got Baltimore lost, Kansas City lost their undefeated streak. We have Green Bay blocks a field goal to get the win. You got a bunch of games that really came down to the wire, and a bunch of games that change a lot of things. So Dallas is tonight. Really, basically, this is their season. I think last week was their season when they versed the Eagles, but this is really it. If they can't beat the Texans and start getting some wins, there's really no shot for us to even compete in the playoffs or even get in the playoffs. I don't think we're competing for anything. I think our team sucks. I think we got to go into the offseason, maybe get Deion Sanders or some shit. I don't know. We got a lot of work to do. CeeDee Lamb is looking like he is. Can you stop, dude? I'm on the podcast, bro. Stop doing that. So yeah, we are looking maybe for Deion. I'm hoping to get Deion. But we will see where that pans out. Stop. But yeah, the Dallas Cowboys and Cincinnati's got a lot of question marks, both on offense, defense, coaching, ownership. It goes all throughout the ranks. So we got a bunch of shit to go over. But that's pretty much it for Recap Monday. Coming over just a little bit of the swing of things. LeBron James and the Lakers are looking really good. Man is a beast. LeBron is just staying consistent as well. We have a literally legitimate shot to really go far this year. I know it's the first 14 games of the season, but still it's not looking that bad so far. So yeah, I'm going to take a quick break, guys, and we're going to transition to some sports stories, and that will be it for my show here on Recap Monday. So I'll be right back, guys. All right, guys, we have some big news coming from the NBA All-Star game. Could be changing. NBA All-Star game this season, the league is in serious talks about holding a 4-team tournament on the 2025 All-Star Weekend. ESPN Shams Shernan reported Friday the proposed tournament would feature 3 All-Star teams, each with 8 players on the roster, and the winner of the Rising Stars Challenge, which has used a tournament format since 2022. The league's competition committee discussed the potential change on Friday, according to ESPN. So that is a big change of events. Definitely need that because the All-Star game and All-Star Weekend have been going off the rails. It's been not good for a while now. So let's hope that we can change the All-Star game into having a little bit more of a competition. NBA Commissioner Adam Silver has repeatedly limited the quality of play in recent All-Star games and stated that the league is open on tweaking the format during his media availability in Mexico. On November 2nd, Silver hinted at something like this by saying the league was looking at not having a traditional game format this year. So it'll be a little bit more of a funky looking format. We'll see what happens. I mean, they've said their competition to be better in some ways, but it just never really pans out for the NBA. So let's hope that the All-Star game is better. I mean, the last time we had Cleveland and Golden State top of the West and the East was in 2016. And both of them went to the finals, and we had the biggest comeback in NBA history, with the Cavs coming back from 3-1 down to beat the Warriors in Game 7 with the LeBron block. And we also had one of the best All-Star games we've seen in a long time, with the last All-Star game of Kobe Bryant's career was in that year. So it was a great year. Maybe we get something similar. I don't know. I'm hoping, because the All-Star game has been ass for since 2016. I would say not, because I would say 2020 before COVID hit, that was actually really good. That was when LeBron and Giannis were guarding each other. That was awesome. But it didn't really start going until like the later stage of the game, which was reasons why we wanted better. It's got to be more competition. So I would say that's got to change. And then we're going to stick with the NBA, where the Golden State Warriors head coach Steve Kerr had some some changes he might want to be thinking about making. Hopefully that the NBA would make to help out these players and to keep them healthy. Thinks the 82-game NBA schedule is too demanding because the way basketball is played nowadays, and this had led to injuries. In an interview on KNBR during a longtime host and former Warrior Tom Tolbert's farewell show on Tuesday, Kerr gave a clear-eyed explanation of why, despite advances in technology and increased focus on diet, sleeping, and training, so many players continue to get hurt. He does say, I think guys are playing faster and harder than ever before, Kerr said. If you turn on a game from the 80s and turn on a Lakers-Celtics finals game, first off, you pick up the guy at the top of the key. You don't pick him up at full court or at half court. You rarely ever have a run behind three-point line to challenge the shot. We're playing faster these days. The pace is up, and the injuries just keep on piling up. I agree with him. I think that we have to go more into depth with training in the offseason. We got to go more in depth of making preseason for the stars and the big names and everybody else more on pace and people taking it more seriously so we can get more games in and more NBA action. And then on top of that, I think the 82-game season is too long, especially like Kerr said, the way we play basketball now is so demanding. We play at a faster, play stronger pace. We're always moving. We're always going. And that's a recipe for injuries and disaster. Look at the NFL. I mean, the NFL, they have their issues with the fields. They have their issues now. They added 2 games. Obviously, that sport is more demanding than basketball when it comes to physicality and all the injuries. And you can get really seriously hurt there and could die. But at the same time, it's similar. It's you added 2 more games in the NFL. You're not changing the fields to grass. You're keeping them more turf, and you're just doing more things that just don't help out the players. And I think that same goes to the NBA and a lot of sports. You got to have more training. You got to have more players, big name players, take preseason and offseason more seriously so that we can limit the stars are getting injured. I mean, this year, the first 15 games, there's been so many big stars getting injured for almost all teams. And that's just not a good sign for the NBA. Now, I mean, I don't know what De'Aaron Fox drank, ate. He's on like some crazy drugs, dude. This man has scored 109 points in 2 games. He's scored the most in 2 games, I think, as anybody in the NFL since Will Chamberlain. No one in the league is playing as well as De'Aaron Fox right now. The Sacramento Kings dynamic point guard poured in a career-high 60 points in a loss to the Timberwolves on Friday, and then followed it up with 49 points in a win over the Utah Jazz the very next night. He missed 5 free throws, and he blamed himself and blamed a lot of things on reasons why he missed 5 free throws and couldn't get the 50 points. If it wasn't for a pair of missed free throws in the final seconds of Saturday's victory, Fox could have become the first player since Damian Lillard to record back-to-back 50-point games. Even so, this has been a historic scoring binge and should continue with a sieve-like Atlanta Hawks up next. Before Fox and co. can take the court again on Monday, here are all the numbers you need to know. And truly elite performance. 60 points one game, 49 the other game. Field goal percentage was good as well. It wasn't like he was shooting bad. It wasn't like all that. He was actually shooting really good on a good percentage. And if you're going to score that many points and you could take less shots and not have to diminish your percentage and really just take all the losses from each other, then to be honest, it's a great game. They lost and then they won. So just shows you certain things happen for a reason. So, and then our next and final story that we have for you guys today is we have Keon Anthony. He has finally made a decision. Carmelo Anthony's son and a top 40 recruit in the class of 2025 has announced Friday that he is following in his father's footsteps and he is committing to Syracuse University. Anthony made the announcement on his father's 7 p.m. in Brooklyn show. The Orange were chosen from a final list that also included USC and Auburn. Syracuse had been the longtime favorite, but Anthony went through a legitimate recruitment, taking official visits to Florida State as a junior and USC 2 months ago. Ultimately, it came down to my relationship with the staff, Anthony told ESPN. From day one, when they started recruiting me, they made me feel like it was family, which it was. His dad was there, alma mater. My dad's name on the facility is special, but I want to go in there and create my own name. And I've already done that through my dedication in the off season with the early morning practices, playing at camps, playing on the circuit. While his father's connection to the school was a huge factor in his recruitment, Anthony also developed his own strong relationship with Coach Adrian Autry. So that just shows you it wasn't just about his father. It wasn't just about his father's importance to Syracuse. He also made his own name. He's also made his own decision about going to Syracuse and about fulfilling, I wouldn't say his father's dream, but his own dream in playing collegiate basketball. So it's great for Keon Anthony to decide that he's going to Syracuse University to follow in his footsteps of his father, Carmelo Anthony. Other than that, guys, that is pretty much it for the show today here on the Fire Sports Pod, where everything we got is hot. I'm your host, Zack Jackson, and this, again, is Recap Monday, Season 5, Episode number 30. We are powered by StreamYard, where StreamYard makes the dream yard go, and we will catch you guys on Season 5, Episode number 31. This coming Wednesday. We should have our boy Irvon to talk some more sports. That will probably be my routine co-host for the foreseeable future. We will see what happens next. But other than that, guys, have a great rest of your Monday night, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Enjoy tonight's Monday Night Football. Hopefully the Cowboys can get something done. Would not be surprised if we get our asses kicked, but it is what it is. This is how the season goes, and that's just how football is. Other than that, guys, I'll catch you guys later. See you guys on Wednesday. Peace out.